A very good evening to you and thank you for joining us on the main news. My name is Joyce Mabika. Susan Masona is on sign language.
My name is Butler Nepure. It is great to have you indeed. These are your top stories tonight.
Trade between Zimbabwe and Indonesia reaches 93 million United States dollars in the last 4 years.
In business news, the African Association of Automotive Manufacturers says it is keen to revive Zimbabwe's motor industry.
And in sport, Zimbabwe out of the African Women Cup of Nations as the mighty Warriors fall to Angola. When I'll give you the news in detail, a trade between Zimbabwe and Indonesia reached 93 million United States dollars in the last 4 years, with tobacco being the major export crop to that country.
Well, this emerged when the Indonesian ambassador to Zimbabwe bid farewell to President Emmerson Mnangagwa at State House today. Bruce Chawanda filed this report.
In bidding farewell to President Emmerson Mnangagwa at State House in Harare this Wednesday, outgoing Indonesian ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Diwa Yuniata Sastrawan, emphasized the work being done between the two countries. He said trade growth has been a major highlight of his tenure in Zimbabwe, with plans underway to find ways of cooperation in lithium for his country's automotive industry.
On the trade sector, this is one that I would like to highlight. When I come here in 2019, our trade is the volume of trade only 60 million. But now, and last year, that our figure show is 93 million. So the good thing of this that this trade is basically more export from Zimbabwe to Indonesia. So succeeded to have a cooperation between Indonesia and Zimbabwe, how to produce fertilizer here in Zimbabwe. So there's already one company producing fertilizer using Indonesian technology. This fertilizer is quite unique because converting coal to fertilizer. And we hope that this is going to be increased the volume and then we can support the food security program here in Zimbabwe.
Kenyan ambassador to Zimbabwe, Your Excellency Stella Munyi, also bade farewell to President Mnangagwa and described relations between Kenya and Zimbabwe as excellent. She also noted the participation of companies from Kenya at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF, as a way of cementing the bilateral relations between the two countries.
My bilateral relations are excellent. I've managed to build them for the years I've been here. I've had our JPCC, our Joint Permanent Commission for Cooperation. When I came here, we had the last one in 1989, but during my tenure, we had the third session in 2021 and 2024. And now I'm looking forward to a midterm review this year. That has been my greatest. I've also had high-level visits. I've had His Excellency visit Nairobi 4 times. The Excellency President Mnangagwa has gone to Nairobi 4 times. I've also had my president come here. He was here last year at the opening of the ZITF.
Zimbabwe continues to engage different countries as a way of boosting trade in various sectors of the economy. Bruce Chawanda, CBC News, Harare.
Murambinda Beshnav Bridge Road rehabilitation has commenced as the Second Republic continues to modernize the country's road network. John Nandara reports.
Works for the construction of the 120-kilometer Murambinda Beshnav Bridge Road are already underway, with the contractor now on site and working on an 11.5-kilometer stretch of the road.
Zvinobatsira kuti munhu wese waane mota yesi yake yakanaka akwanise kuzvifambira uchienda kurusevha.
Mabhazi acharerukirwa. Kunyange vanhu chaivo uchienda kuzvipatara wakusvikawo nenguva.
Azotaona zvakudai so tiri kufara zingaiti kuti tadi tarangarirwa. Tarangarirwa zvokuti deno zvazvo kuti batayo kana Bechnav. Taiziva kuti zvakaringa.
The road, the longest single stretch of gravel road in Manicaland, will soon have a new look courtesy of the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program.
The scope of the works from the 0 to 6.5 kilometer peg, we are going to reseal the road with an asphalt overlay. So the contractor has already reached our levels as per our designs for that section.
In terms of construction, we have managed to push clear the whole road from where it started up to the 11.5 peg. So currently we are doing the fields to reach the subgrade level, and then from that we will continue to do the subgrade.
Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Advocate Mishek Mugaza, said he is satisfied with the progress in the rehabilitation of roads in the province.
Chirongwa infrastructure development is one of the wonderful things that the new dispensation is doing throughout the whole country, but here in Manicaland we are particularly thrilled by the fact that we have a number of roads, Zitori, either under construction and some of which have been completed. We have the Bechnaf Mrambinda Road. Again, this one is being attacked from both ends. They've put close to 7 to 10 kilometers from Bechnaf and the same distance from the Mrambinda side. And as we speak, we know for a fact that the contractors are on the ground and already working.
The country's emergency road rehabilitation program is more than laying asphalt and cement, but a pathway to transforming communities, improving connectivity, and fostering economic growth. John Nandara, ZBC News, Murambinda.
Well, preparations for this year's tobacco marketing season are on course, with auction floors set to officially open next Wednesday.
This year's tobacco marketing season will open with a difference, as the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board has ordered all the self-financed tobacco to be delivered and sold at the auction floors, while a biometric system has also been put in place to weed out or the errant farmers and contractors. A government delegation led by Lands Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development Deputy Minister Honorable Vangelis Artatus this Wednesday conducted a pre-tobacco marketing inspection at Tobacco Sales Floors, the venue for the official opening of the tobacco marketing season penciled for the 5th of next month.
We've just gone through the entire processing to see how, when the tobacco farmer arrives, how he or she will be treated, how the tobacco will be offloaded, how the tobacco flows onto the floor. And we're very happy with what we see today in terms of operational, and very excited that the season opens, the marketing season opens next week. With regards to the season itself, we're very optimistic. When we went around the country to inspect what tobacco is out there, it's a remarkable difference from even from last year.
Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board TIMB chairperson Mr. Patrick Devnish confirmed merchants have been licensed, while stringent measures to curbside marketing of the golden leaf have been put in place.
Well, we've got 31 A-class buyers and 44 contractors. So that's that. It's a simple number. And as far as state of preparedness is concerned, everything is ready. There's 55 markets this year. And as time goes by next season, every farmer will be registered on biometrics. And it will give us much more control over it.
This year's tobacco farmers are expected to break another record, with the TIMB estimating about 300 million kilograms of the golden leaf to go under the hammer this season. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News, Harare.
A government has availed funds for the construction of 80 new schools to fulfill its top priorities in the education sector. Fungai Jaji with that report.
In response to a motion moved in the National Assembly on the state of infrastructure in schools, as well as the teacher-pupil ratio, among other issues, Primary and Secondary Education Minister Honorable Torirai Moyo, who presented a ministerial statement in Parliament this Tuesday, assured legislators that the construction of schools is on course as funds have been availed.
In the 2025 calendar year, we have secured adequate resources to construct new schools. We are targeting not less than 120 new schools, Madam Speaker, ma'am. These include 30 schools that we have already received funding from Ministry of Finance through the National Building Society. In addition to the 30 schools, Madam Speaker, ma'am, we have a partner called OFID, OPEC Funding for International Development. So in the first term, we are going to receive 20 million towards school construction. The partner is going to provide funding for the construction of 50 schools. Of these 50 schools, 40 will be day schools and 10 are going to be boarding schools. So we are targeting those areas that are areas where students are traveling long distances.
He also gave an update on the recruitment of teachers and registration of satellite schools.
Before the end of March, we should be able to receive treasury concurrence so that we can start recruitment of 8,000 teachers. But these will not be recruited at the same time. Maybe Treasury might have your funds for us to recruit maybe 3,000-4,000 in the second term. The balance will be recruited in the third term.
The Second Republic has been on a deliberate stance to improve the education sector with the construction of schools and expansion of existing ones, improvement of the curriculum and the welfare of teachers being among its top priorities. Last year, 104 schools were built countrywide, thereby reducing the deficit. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Mount Hampton.
Well, Zimbabwe and Japan are hoping to use Expo 2025 Osaka to increase trade and investment opportunities for both countries.
The 23rd of this month was the 65th birthday of Japanese Emperor Naruhito, and to belatedly mark the day, the Japanese embassy in Harare held its celebrations this Wednesday. Japanese ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Shinichi Yamanaka, says 45 years since the establishment of diplomatic ties, the two countries' cooperation has seen growth in areas such as agriculture, road rehabilitation, health and the economy. He said the upcoming Expo 2025 Osaka, along with the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, will further grow these ties.
The Osaka Kansai Expo is scheduled to take place for 6 months, from April 13 to October 13 in Osaka, Japan, with special focus on July 16, which has been designated as Zimbabwe's National Day. Various events and activities are scheduled to be held. In addition, JICA will also host the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in August. Many dignitaries from Zimbabwe are expected to attend these events.
Foreign Affairs and International Trade Deputy Minister Honorable Sheila Chikomo weighed in, saying Japan's commitment to peace, global cooperation and sustainability is in tandem with government's development strides.
The government of Zimbabwe continues working hard to improve the business working environment. In this regard, our government has implemented several ease of doing business reforms to make Zimbabwe an investor-friendly and competitive investment destination in Africa. We are optimistic that Expo 2025 Osaka will provide an opportunity to interface with the Japanese companies interested in investing in Zimbabwe. And we wish to appreciate the support and facilitation from the Japanese government for us to showcase our country at this premium international exhibition.
Zimbabwe and Japan are cooperating in a number of fields that include support by Japan in the launching of Zimbabwe Satellite 1, ZimSat-1, which has revolutionized agricultural and mining mapping along with disaster management. Olin Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
The Bright Journey program, a collaborative initiative between Zimbabwe and China, is bringing hope and dignity to hundreds of Zimbabweans suffering from cataracts.
The program, which was officially launched at the Parenyatwa Group of Hospitals in Harare this Wednesday, has already begun performing free cataract surgeries and is targeting approximately 600 patients. The Minister of Health and Child Care, Dr. Douglas Mwambeshora, and Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Zhou Ding, visited the hospital to witness the life-changing surgeries firsthand. They toured the operating theaters where a team of Chinese and Zimbabwean ophthalmologists were working tirelessly to restore vision to patients who had been living with cataracts.
Saka pakazoya program yemachina iyi
hapana mari yatabvisa tabatsirwa mahara. Ndanga ndisingachaona but apa ndakuona zvakanaka semaonera raingoita isati rakuvara.
Ndakabatsirwa, ndakabiswa tsanga nezuro mahara pasina kana sendi yezvino ndakuona.
Aiwa ndabatsika because ndakazoperatwa nezuro. Nhasi ndopata bviswa bandage andakuona ziso rangu iri ranga ratone 3 years risiri kutoona.
Ndatofa ndakutochembera ndakutofa ndisisatomboona, but thank you so much to the government, our government, nezvose zvavatiitira, and the Chinese government as well.
Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Zhou Ding, emphasized the significance of the program.
Health isn't just a basic right. It is the foundation of dignity, the key to opportunities and a prosperous life. As an old saying goes, the eyes are the window to the soul. Through the Bright Journey program, we will open those windows again for our Zimbabwean brothers and sisters.
In an interview on the sidelines of the launch, the Minister of Health and Child Care, Dr. Douglas Mwambeshora, highlighted the program's sustainability.
We are seeing improvements with each eye camp. As you can see, this time they brought in quite some advanced equipment which we didn't have. If you witnessed in theater, we're now using that microscope and which we didn't have. So this program, we are expecting it to go into the future.
The Bright Journey program not only provides free cataract surgeries but also includes academic exchanges and training sessions for local medical personnel, ensuring that Zimbabwean healthcare professionals can continue to provide high-quality eye care services long after the program is completed. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, debate on the Broadcasting Services Amendment Bill commenced in the National Assembly today, with the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Muswere, explaining the new legislation and how it will foster media sovereignty.
After the second reading of the bill in Parliament this Tuesday, debate ensued on the key principles of the bill at the new Parliament building in Mount Hampden this Wednesday. Members of the National Assembly drew attention to specific areas where they feel the need for amendments.
We don't have a problem in ensuring that the public broadcaster get licenses and people should pay for licenses. I think it goes across, whether you go to South Africa, you go to the United Kingdom, BBC and SABC. But Madam Speaker, it is the proposal which the Honourable Minister is bringing, which I think needs to be panel beaten.
I believe this bill is long overdue. And also, I believe that it presents us with an opportunity to reform our broadcasting regulatory framework to ensure that we have diversity, pluralism, and also the enjoyment of basic media freedoms.
This bill will generate a revenue. The mandatory radio licensing are expected to generate significant revenue for the ZBC, estimated at $73.6 million per year. And also, in favor of this bill, is that we promote local content.
In response, the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jennifer Muswere, highlighted that the new law is expected to foster media sovereignty.
In terms of foreign ownership in broadcasting licenses, which has a lot of impact in terms of local media control. We have taken note of this, and as I've already indicated, that there will not be any changes to the particular section. It will remain as it is, to the effect that no person other than a citizen of Zimbabwe shall be a director of a licensee. This, Madam Speaker, relates to the territorial integrity and sovereignty of a nation, in that media sovereignty is very key. What we broadcast reflects who we are. The media sector is a very sensitive security issue which can create a lot of instability in any nation. So by virtue of that, there won't be any amendments to this particular section.
The minister also responded to the recommendations for the Portfolio Committee on Media Broadcasting Services report.
The amendments will comply with Section 61 and Section 62 of the Constitution, and that the purpose of the Broadcasting Services Act, Chapter 12.06, is the creation and regulation of the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, the protection and management of broadcasting spectrum. These are all meant to ensure that we enhance the freedom of expression and also to, as guaranteed in terms of the supreme law of the land, the Constitution under Section 61 of the Constitution. So the amendment seek to ensure that there is media diversity, media plurality, and also the robustness of the media industry.
The Broadcasting Services Amendment Bill is aimed at aligning the country's broadcasting laws with the Constitution and, among other things, seeks to make it mandatory for motorists to first buy a radio license before acquiring insurance cover, thereby boosting revenue for the national broadcaster ZBC. Festus Mkungurudze, ZBC News, Harare.
The Southern African Development Community SADC is strengthening mechanisms to combat health emergencies triggered by changing climatic patterns.
Well, there was a virtual SADC extraordinary meeting of health ministers which red-flagged emergencies such as Mpox and the Marburg virus that have been reported in the region. Theophilus Schumer has more.
The meeting convened by SADC health ministers provided a critical platform for the region to focus on response strategies to emerging health challenges being driven by climate change. In a post-cabinet media briefing in Harare this Tuesday, the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jenfen Muswere, revealed that the meeting adopted several key decisions to strengthen collective responses to emerging challenges such as diarrheal outbreaks, Mpox, and the Marburg virus disease.
Key highlights of the proceedings and outcomes included the ongoing health emergencies in the SADC region, such as Mpox outbreak, the Marburg virus disease. Member states were urged to share information on disease outbreaks timelessly in order to effectively address cross-border transmission.
Climate change continues to pose a huge burden for Southern Africa, triggering droughts and floods that have impacted negatively on livelihoods. Beyond this, the health ministers also focused on other key areas targeted to enhance health security within the SADC region.
The meeting also endorsed the following: the SADC TB strategic plan, the expansion of the E8 malaria elimination initiative to all 16 SADC member states under the auspices of SADC, a project to accelerate the implementation and investment into the SADC sexual and reproductive health and rights strategy.
According to Health and Child Care Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshora, climate-induced health emergencies are a real threat for the region, hence the need to ensure robust mechanisms to better prepare.
Yeah, we are also seeing an upsurge in other diseases like what our chairman has mentioned, like the Mpox, the Marburg virus. It has spread to quite a number of countries, more than what it used to be like. And we think actually it's because of climate change that these viruses are beginning to spread beyond the borders where they never used to spread.
In addition, SADC member states are also seeking ways to mobilize alternative funding through public-private partnerships and domestic resource mobilization for critical health programs including HIV, TB, as well as containment of malaria. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, as tributes continue to pour in, the late Namibia founding president, Dr. Sam Nujoma, has been described as a towering figure in African liberation history.
On the 8th of February, Namibia lost its founding president, Dr. Sam Nujoma, a revolutionary icon whose legacy of a free and empowered Africa lives on. A memorial service held in Harare this Wednesday saw speaker after speaker saluting the African icon.
On behalf of the SADC ambassadors accredited to the Republic of Zimbabwe, we express our most heartfelt condolence to the people, family, and the government of the Republic of Namibia.
He went through a whole generation of revolutionary leaders. The first generation which formed the RU, he was there. The Nkrumahs and the Haile Selassies, and then he went through the second batch of revolutionary leaders who included President Fidel Castro, who was very stalwart in supporting Southern Africa against apartheid.
Our loss is colossal, and our sorrow is beyond measure. At the same time, we are privileged to have the opportunity to celebrate and glorify the great lives of these African heroes.
Namibian ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Nicholas Kandiji, said SADC has been robbed by the demise of Dr. Nujoma.
The founding president, Dr. Nujoma's legacy as a liberator is monumental, stretching across the slopes, savannas of Southern Africa, and ultimately encompassing the world. His steadfast dedication to the liberation of the Namibian people from the shackles of colonialism and apartheid resonates not only in our nation but showcase the ethos of the African Renaissance and reclamation of black political power.
For Zimbabwe, Dr. Nujoma is remembered for standing by the country at the height of the land reform program and the illegal sanctions imposed on the country by the United States and its Western allies.
Let us continue to emulate the strong foundation which he laid for Namibia's stability and democracy. Zimbabwe was always close to his heart. Understandably, given our shared historical experiences and in particular our common struggles. At the height of Zimbabwe's isolation following the country's successful land reform program, our father, Dr. Nujoma, boldly stood out in support of our program with much ideological clarity.
A state funeral for Dr. Nujoma will be held in Windhoek this Saturday. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Cecilia Mnangagwa, who was in Australia on a philanthropic visit, met Honourable Margaret Beasley, ACKC, the Governor of New South Wales, and they exchanged ideas on philanthropy.
First Lady Dr. Cecilia Mnangagwa, during her philanthropic visit to Australia, met with Her Excellency, Governor of New South Wales, Honourable Margaret Beasley, ACKC, at Government House in Sydney. Member for Blacktown Parliamentary Secretary for Planning and Public Spaces, Mr. Stephen Bali, who was among the people who welcomed Dr. Mnangagwa when she toured Blacktown Hospital, was mesmerized by her charity works and asked if she could also meet Honourable Beasley to share notes on philanthropy. During the meeting, Dr. Cecilia Mnangagwa expressed a deep appreciation of the warm reception she received from the people of New South Wales since her arrival in Australia. The First Lady visited Australia in her capacity as a philanthropist, and she told the Governor that she was happy to have connected with various philanthropists in New South Wales who made substantial donations of medical equipment to Zimbabwe. The visit also afforded the First Lady a platform to discuss her philanthropic work, particularly in the areas of women's, men's and children's health, since she focuses on the whole family. She informed the governor that she was appointed the ambassador for health in Zimbabwe because of her dedication to improving public health outcomes in the country. Dr. Mnangagwa informed Her Excellency, the Honorable Margaret Beasley, ACKC, that her main focus was on women, children, and men's health, adding that her health initiatives were aimed at addressing critical health challenges, raise awareness, and provide support to underserved populations. Mnangagwa also pointed out that her programs are focused on providing access to healthcare services to vulnerable communities, raising awareness about gender-specific health issues, and advocating for preventative measures. She has also been actively involved in the campaign against gender-based violence and promoting mental health awareness among men and women. The Mother of the Nation underscored that all of the services provided by the Angel of Hope Foundation are accessible to all Zimbabweans regardless of their political affiliations. The Honorable Margaret Beasley, ACKC, commended the First Lady for using her position to bring positive transformation to the health system in Zimbabwe. She also applauded her for all the initiatives that the Angel of Hope is spearheading, saying she should be proud of herself for all the work she is doing in the country. Dr. Mnangagwa in response said, "Your work is driven by the compassion that he has for the less privileged and vulnerable people in the country." Honorable Margaret Beasley stated that sometimes there is a tendency from developed countries to think that they have all the solutions. However, programs being implemented by the First Lady are an indication that homegrown programs can be successful in their own right. She added that some of the social and health programs being implemented by the First Lady are similar to programs that are also being offered in Australia, particularly in indigenous communities. Honorable Beasley also said there are programs being implemented in regional towns that focus on providing medical facilities to vulnerable communities. The governor indicated that such programs have a holistic approach to health and that they cover treatment and also taught the importance of good nutrition and how to grow plants. Mnangagwa advised the governor that she too ran a similar program in Zimbabwe titled From Garden to Table, an initiative aimed at addressing food security, improving nutrition, and promoting sustainable farming practices in Zimbabwe. She highlighted that the initiative encourages families, particularly women, to grow their own food in small-scale gardens, which can provide a reliable source of fresh produce. The program aims to empower communities, reduce food insecurity, and promote healthy eating habits. The discussion was also centered on the cooperation that exists between Australia and Zimbabwe in the education sector, where Dr. Mnangagwa highlighted that some Zimbabweans are in Australia for studies, with some of them being beneficiaries of scholarships under the Australia Scholarship Awards Program for Africa. The First Lady stated that education is a priority in Zimbabwe, adding that primary and high school education is compulsory. On diseases, it came to light during the discussion that breast, cervical, and prostate cancers are now topping the list. It was also said HIV and AIDS is still prevalent and is associated with some cancers. In light of that, Mnangagwa has been pushing for greater awareness and early detection as crucial steps towards improving health outcomes. During her awareness campaigns, the First Lady discovered that men are more reluctant to have their health checked. Therefore, she is pushing for widespread education to help men understand the importance of early detection and the role it plays in not only protecting their own health, but that of their families too. Her Excellency Honorable Margaret Beasley informed Dr. Mnangagwa that Australia also had strong cancer awareness initiatives that advocate for early detection. The governor pointed out that one of the most successful campaigns on cancer in Australia has been spearheaded by the Margaret Foundation, a prominent Australian charity dedicated to supporting individuals affected by breast cancer. Her Excellency Honorable Margaret Beasley further informed the First Lady of a medical centre in Australia that used to offer free mammograms to women for early breast cancer detection. The First Lady, Dr. Mnangagwa, expressed gratitude to Honorable Margaret Beasley for the opportunity to come and meet her, extending an invitation to her to visit Zimbabwe so that she can have a first-hand appreciation of the country. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News.
As a reminder, these and more stories are available on our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Yep, and you can also see abridged versions and other bits as well on our social media platforms. Go on Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly Twitter, and you just find us ZBC News Online.
Here are stories too to expect ahead in the bulletin. The African Association of Automotive Manufacturers keen to revive Zimbabwe's motor industry.
And it seems all is about done for Zimbabwe. We're out of the Africa Women Cup of Nations, falling to Angola in that qualifier that was played this afternoon. So be sure to join us for that and a whole lot more when we come back.
Stroke of genius! Introduce the stroke of genius. Oh, Zimbabwe yakuzosimuka manje. Stroke of genius and kureva chera. President E.D. Mnangagwa vari kupa mabankable, registrable and transferable title deeds na every farmer akapuwa munda pa land reform program. Takanga takapuwa minda asi takanga tisina simba rekupinda mumabhengi semama business kuti tipewo maloni akachipa tatakuwara nezvimbazo man. Zvino ne stroke of genius yekupuwa matitle deeds tikupinduka mubhengi sevamwe totopuwa maloni takutodevelopa mafamu.
Saka kuduza kuti land ese yatone
ende ukapuwa title deed iroro chera mundu wako uchatoreki yatova nhaka yevazukuru nevazukuru ndo zvinoda fama manje izvozvo security of tenure.
Iwe pandiri panapa ndakutokwanisa kutopa vana nhaka kuti chidimu chako ichi chemunda chidimu chako ichi
exactly
zvichifambiswa sei.
President E.D. Mnangagwa igenius manje vakabva vati kuti zvinyatofamba negwara rakatwasanuka zviri transparent ndobva vagadza inonzi Land Tenure Implementation Committee iri kushanda nemamwe mapazi ehurumende.
But iwo unozviziva iwo kuti kune maland barons akazara ukanofamba minda dzevanhu.
Dai vatoregera zvavo ndiwo ukopo husiri kudiwa naPresident Mnangagwa irwowo. Ndosaka Land Tenure Implementation Committee yakati ngatishandisei ma-ID numbers, namba dzepachitupa kuti munhu haakwanisi kuva nemafamu maviri. Plus Land Tenure iyi committee haisi kupa minda patsvayo. Iri kutwasanudza pakupiwa kwema-title deeds.
Iwe saka zvichida kuti tatoprotected kasei mavarimi.
Exactly manje.
Ukaziva
kuti une stroke of genius here. President E.D. apa vasikira vana veZimbabwe upfumi.
My family has come a long way from when we started out in Mutoko. We've paid off the stand in town and built our own place. Our family is growing. But I guess some things don't change.
It's fun.
My mom used to bath me just like this. New Aura Beauty Soap for skin that glows. From the House of Zimgold.
Welcome back. You're still watching the main news, and of course we would also like to acknowledge all of those joining us live on our live stream that is on Facebook. Global talks to protect biodiversity have resumed in Rome, Italy, where calls were made for humanity to sustain life on the planet.
Matabele North is the latest province to battle the African armyworm. Farmers have gone out in full force after receiving resources to fight the challenge.
Irubungwa nche rwatijaya misamu sibiri ya mulimisi wakati pa misamu atakwati kaulule kuma pharmacy asi misamu adenta kaula ati kuzama ku sprayer basi mvula kupera jona wa sprayer imvula yasika ya umma
timulima zvimanga zvedu zvakabhudha smart vhura ikumuna takanakirwa kuti vhura yana ing'ombe chawara chikafu kuzumanga stock bora yatipeja zvimanga izumudiwa zvimanga zvibhudha pasi so ntiwakona timza kufafaza nokuti azose stock bora tikumuria
ivhura yakana takavyara izumanga namafunde takahoriswa negovernment aganchompo amumera siviri asi iproblemu itashangana nayo tashangana nobukukutu boruvungwa bumubhata mafunde amubhatwa nozumanga zumubhatwa but timukweja kufafaza patinokwanisira miti yose namasimba ose.
Government has ensured preparedness to tackle the devastating pest.
Uhulumende uyazama ngazo zonke indlela ukuthi leso sibungu sizame ukuthi sisiqede, but siyakhuthaza ama-farmers abalimi ukuthi khona nxa sisenelisa please asizithengeleni umuthi sizame ukuzicontrola leso sibungu ngoba singamelela uhulumende kwesikhathi kuyasuka kumandeli or imithi iqinisa kuya sinlutshwana ingasayenelisi ukuthi khave indawo enkulu.
Government has since dispatched essential chemicals to safeguard crops planted across the country. To enhance national food security and achieve set production targets, the authorities have been rendering support to farmers in all districts across the country.
Well, that in fact was a story where farmers in Matabeleland North Province are on high alert in the wake of the African armyworm, the threat which it has caused and has already affected 7 districts across the country. We now give you the details to the story where global talks to protect biodiversity have resumed in Rome, Italy, where calls were made for humanity to sustain life on the planet. Memory Chamisa gives us the details.
Following inconclusive negotiations at COP16 held in Cali, Colombia in November last year, the Rome meeting is expected to endorse the financial mechanisms to mobilize $200 billion United States per year needed to implement the coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and improve monitoring to track progress. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Wildlife, Ambassador Thaddeus Chifamba says discussions and outcomes of the resumed COP16 will be in sync with the agenda of the upcoming Ramsar COP15, which Zimbabwe will be hosting this year in Victoria Falls.
Zimbabwe is a lead negotiator for the Africa Group in trying to advance consensus on the global financing mechanism for the GBA. In addition, Zimbabwe will be hosting the Ramsar COP15 from the 23rd to the 31st of July under the theme Protecting Our Wetlands for Our Common Future. And it is important for us to maintain or to sustain the momentum that has been generated by the various COPs that were held towards the end of last year. The CBD recognizes the importance of wetland ecosystems in the context of biodiversity conservation.
Another major highlight of the meeting will be the official launch of the Cali Fund that aims to ensure the fair distribution of financial benefits derived from the use of digital sequence information, genetic data from plants, animals and other organisms. Led by the private sector, the fund will support indigenous communities and biodiversity conservation efforts. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News.
Now, the 38th Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa COMESA meeting of the Council of Bureau of the Regional Third-Party Motor Vehicle Insurance started in Victoria Falls today. Amid revelations, there was a 33% increase in yellow cards issuance last year compared to 2023.
COMESA Yellow Card Council of Bureau Chairperson Mr. Patrick Kusikwenyu told journalists on the sidelines of the COMESA meeting of the Council of Bureaus of the Regional Third-Party Motor Vehicle Insurance that his organization issued in excess of 600,000 yellow cards in 2024 as opposed to about 450,000 the previous year. Of these cards, over 70,000 were issued to vehicles exiting Zimbabwe. He attributed the growth to ongoing efforts to raise awareness in member states on the benefits of the yellow card.
That growth has been because of the efforts of the council to grow the yellow card through conscientizing the motorists on the benefits of the yellow card. Remember, the yellow card is a trade facilitation instrument, and it allows drivers that cross borders to be able to get compensation quickly in the event that they're involved in
accidents outside the country.
Zimbabwe's Insurance and Pensions Commissions noted the significance of the yellow card.
It facilitates a transition of goods, it facilitates trade, it facilitates trades of individual persons. It makes it easier for them to travel from one country to the other without the hassles of buying insurance at the borders. You just produce your yellow card and you pass through.
The gathering brings together representatives from over 14 COMESA member states, including Zimbabwe, to review and enhance the yellow card scheme. This scheme, crucial for regional trade and travel, facilitates the seamless movement of goods, services and people across borders. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
The Environmental Management Agency, EMA, has temporarily shut down Rand Mine in Bindura after traces of cyanide were found in Japan-Zimbabwe water supply system. The closure comes after a water spillage from the mine's slime dam.
The temporary shutdown of Rand Mine is meant to allow authorities more time to deal with the water spillage which contaminated water in Bindura's Japan-Zimbabwe and fish at Pote River and Acadia dams.
Our laboratory analysis is from Thursday up to today. We have been sampling the boreholes and streams close to Mshambanyaka into Pote River, where there were reports of fish that were dying in Pote River. So after the further analysis with our internationally accredited and SARS accredited laboratory, we found that there are traces of cyanide within the water or the contaminated area within the residential area in the cluster area and also in Chipadze. So we ordered them to stop operations and to focus mainly on this health hazard that is put a scourge into the area.
The closure of the mine follows consensus from the Bindura Civil Protection Unit, which met this Wednesday to review laboratory findings and immediately ordered a community awareness campaign.
The wells and the deep wells, they are not fully protected, so we are just advising them not to use them but to use the reticulation water from the council or the local authority, which is a bit safer as for now, since we are expecting underground contamination.
Chipadze residents had mixed reactions to the independent laboratory tests after being assured by Rand Mine on Friday not to worry as it had conducted its own tests.
Kushamisika kuti vanhu vako vachishedzera utano hwedu hwatopa njodzi because vamwe tachitonwa mvura iyoyo hatizive kuti kumberi uko zvinoita sei zvinofamba sei.
Pamwe dai vatomboendawo kunotitestawo miri yedu takabata mvura idzi tisinombozoti kwadhubuka chisainetu. Saka vanhu vatatobata mvura nemaoko tichitokupa kudai.
Apa pane mugero pandiropinda napo. Ini nenda kutobata mvura iyoyo futi neuche. Saka zviri kutondiafecta mishonga iyoyo hatizive kuti unosvika paextend ipi.
Taiti isusu pamwe zvaitika kumhiri kunoko hazvichese hazvipinde. Saka tatozodzwa neEMA kuti mvura inofamba nepasi inogona yakasvika nekwese kunoko. Isusu tachitoshandisa mvura kugeza kusukisa muriwo ikoko.
Vakuya vachidedzera kuti mvura ngaisasukiswe mapulesi mushure mekunge futi tanzwa kuti hove maramba zvakanofa kuna poto. Saka zvinhu zviri kutotinetsa.
Continuous assessment by the joint authorities including ZINWA and the Ministry of Health and Childcare is expected to continue until decontamination measures have succeeded. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Bindura.
Well, discipline among members of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces has been identified as a vital component in the country's defense and security apparatus.
The 2 Infantry Brigade has a new command after Brigadier General Million Lovu took over from Brigadier General Charles Mashava at a colorful handover and takeover ceremony held in Harare this Wednesday. Handing over the command and brigade formation colors, Brigadier General Mashava implored his successor to carry forward the brigade's legacy of excellence and commitment to service, while Brigadier General Lovu pledged loyalty to the nation.
I want to urge my successor, Brigadier General Lovu, to take note of those projects that remain outstanding and embrace them.
We will be working hard in those communities to ensure that where all government programs are a success. We will also ensure that the security in those areas is taken care of.
Commander Zimbabwe National Army Lieutenant General Anselm Sanyatwe challenged the incoming commander to consolidate the brigade's achievements.
As the Zimbabwe National Army, we should ensure that peace and security always prevails in this beautiful motherland, Zimbabwe. We should all understand the government's vision for development in its entirety in order to contribute meaningfully in improving the lives and security of our people.
Brigadier General Mashava has been appointed ZNA Director General Civil Military Relations at the ZDF headquarters. Meanwhile, in a separate ceremony, Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe Air Marshal John Jacob Nzwede presided over the promotion and investiture of Air Commodore Ekron Madzanira, who has been elevated from the rank of Group Captain to Air Commodore upon his retirement.
First of all, let me start by thanking the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, for promoting the Group Captain to Air Commodore rank on retirement. Let me say, it took him so many years to go into the civilian life, because this time he is now going into the civilian life. He had not known any other profession besides the military, because he left the country to go into the liberation struggle at a tender age. So this is now a challenge for him, but he is well prepared as a disciplined soldier.
Discipline is the most important thing for a soldier. Without discipline, you can't do much. After discipline, you have to know yourself. You have to be very confident. For this promotion, any promotion is very good sign. So I want to thank the Commander-in-Chief and the Air Force of Zimbabwe for bestowing me with this rank.
The twin milestones come at a time when the ZDF is demonstrating remarkable achievements, including rescue operations for individuals marooned by incessant rains. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Let's take a break now. We'll be back shortly with business news.
The Big Brother Mzansi house is giving spice. It's giving umlilo. So find some shade, because the housemates have entered the chat and they will tell what they must for the 2 meter. It's all about keeping it cool, even when they are seeing flames. Asbanye.
Big Brother Mzansi Season 5 starts Sunday, 12th January at 6 p.m. only on the home of local. Big Brother Mzansi, proudly sponsored by Lotto Star.
Yes guys, nasi ndafunga kwenda kumusha. Ndimbo spend time with family rangu. Damu ndapenda mu chicken bazi. Munoizere chicken bazi. Chicken bazi.
Ngoma joroga uya zvewe. Kwaye wakabva Johnny angonese Jojed. Vake vasina grocery.
Joro kumashops. Haitso vesa hapana chaidzo kana Johnny nungo dziri pape ungazi ngoro negrocery pape.
Anga ngozara manene.
Kuna chiri kuzo.
Ndavo ndaona mubazi mubazi. Anotaurisa munhu uyu.
Indonzi Lee.
Tats.
Uruboko.
Australia.
Alright. Kana tiwasi mutwana tunana kutengesa unozotsvaga zvantu.
Say.
Datato hama kudai.
Okay, bro. Alright. Tubasi.
Why is it cat?
Tats.
Oh,
tats. Guys, ndaona munhu achitengesa chibage. And I've been at chibage maybe 10 years. Dikati. Imari chibage. $40. Murotora iko ken? Alright.
0773 426 300.
Alright. Yaita here.
Yaita, thank you.
Guys, chiri kunuwirira. Ndazosvika kumusha manje.
Welcome back. The African Association of Automotive Manufacturers has expressed interest in reviving Zimbabwe's motor industry through joint ventures with local firms.
An African Association of Automotive Manufacturers delegation is in Zimbabwe on a 2-day needs assessment mission for the local motor industry. During a meeting with government officials and the private sector this Wednesday, the delegation noted that despite challenges which led to low capacity, Zimbabwe's motor industry has the potential to recover.
And we believe there is potential, be it from, and we look from minerals through to component manufacture to vehicle manufacture. Not every country can do all of that, so we're here to assess what a company can focus on and be good for the long term.
The local car manufacturing industry is also expecting to learn from the delegation.
It's in motor industry. We've learned quite a lot from them. As we are going around with them, they're going to give us all the information that we can also apply in this country. Like you have said, there is that need for collaboration, that is the private sector and also the government.
Government has pledged to work with the delegation.
For the last 6 years, we have spent not less than $6 billion importing vehicles. Now you can imagine the jobs that we have exported. And the majority of those are pre-owned vehicles, most of which don't last more than 3 years in the country. And we already need to be looking at the graveside for these vehicles. Last year alone, I'm told we imported more than 23,000 pre-owned vehicles. So all these, in our view, are opportunities that when we get our policy right, when we support the private sector, when we create even interlinkages, we should be able to have value chains developed across countries.
Official data shows that the limited capacity of the domestic car manufacturing sector has resulted in Zimbabwe being a net importer of vehicles. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Now listed retail giant OK Zimbabwe Limited has reappointed former directors to revive operations of the entity after closing some branches.
In a notice, the retail entity revealed that the current executives of Mr. Maxine Karombo, who was the Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer Philemon Mushosho, and Supply Chain Director Mr. Knox Mupaya have stepped down from their duties. Long-serving executive Mr. Willard Zereva has bounced back as the Chief Executive Officer. Mr. Alex Siawora is taking over as a Chief Finance Officer, and Mr. Mozizwa Richard Chingaira as a Supply Chain Director. The three have been tasked with steering the group's turnaround for the next 6 months as the board looks for permanent replacements. The retail firm revealed that the former executives will be implementing a restructuring plan to steer the listed firm back to its glory days. In the past months, OK Zimbabwe has been reeling under challenges in terms of filling shelves with goods at a time when the country's supermarkets are adequately stocked with goods credited to the growth of the manufacturing sector. Central bank authorities have attributed the challenges facing the country's oldest retailer to mismanagement. Market watchers say the bouncing back of the executives reflect a commitment by shareholders to restock and maintain the entity's market share. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
Main News takes a break now. Join us for sport when we return.
The University of Zimbabwe opened applications for August 2025 undergraduate enrollment from the 10th of February to the 15th of March 2025. The institution is offering a broad and comprehensive range of undergraduate programs that are designed towards equipping graduates with the critical skills necessary for the development of the nation. These exciting programs are offered from the 11 faculties of the university, which represent the key sectors of the economy. These are faculties of Agriculture, Environment and Food Systems, Arts and Humanities, Business Management Sciences and Economics, Computer Engineering, Informatics and Communications, Education, Engineering and the Built Environment, Law, Medicine and Health Sciences, Science, Social and Behavioral Sciences, Veterinary Science. In addition, the University of Zimbabwe will be moving across the country to offer advisory services and facilitate application processes for the convenience of the public. Prospective students can visit any of the following centers to access these services. Details of application requirements and procedure are accessed on the UZ website www.uz.ac.zw and the Sunday Mail of the 9th of February 2025. Kuziva Kugona Nekuita. The University of Zimbabwe, educating to change lives.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
To the back of the net!
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
This is the time to take risks.
Incredible!
I've heard good things about you. Don't let me down.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Thank you for staying with us now. Zimbabwe are out of the Africa Women Cup of Nations after losing 5-4 on penalties to Angola at the Lucas Moripe Stadium in South Africa this Wednesday.
The Mighty Warriors went to the match needing to overturn a 2-1 defeat in the first leg. Zimbabwe started strongly and went into the lead, careless of an Ethel Chinyere striker from close range to give her side the lead. The Mighty Warriors continued to push and were duly rewarded at the stroke of half-time after speed winger Christabel Katona tapped the ball home. Zimbabwe went into the breather leading 2-0 but failed to manage the game in the second half, especially after the withdrawal of Captain Immaculate Msipa, who was controlling play. Angola pounced and scored in the 75th minute to force a 3-0 aggregate score and eventually a penalty shootout. Angola went on to score their allotted 5 penalties, while Zimbabwe goalkeeper Nujoma missed the final spot kick for the Mighty Warriors. Ziva President Ngobile Magwezi commented that the girls for putting up a fight despite not playing at home.
Good showing by the girls, both in Angola and in South Africa. We are happy that they managed to put their best foot forward and gave us a good account of themselves. They were very unfortunate today that they lost after penalties, but it shows that we have a good grounding for better performances in the future. So what we now need to do is just go back to the drawing board and start planning for future matches. But of course, the bulk of our work is in the structures, in the grassroots, just making sure that we develop our football right from the young girls all the way up.
Angola proceeded to play Malawi in the second round, while the Mighty Warriors are back to the drawing board. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, there is excitement in Gwanda after the revelation of Johannes Ngodzo as the new head coach of Gwanda Pirates.
After securing the services of the yesteryear midfield maestro Johannes Signature Ngodzo as Gwanda Pirates coach, the mining town is excited and hopeful of finally bringing Premier Soccer League football back to Pelandaba Stadium. Ngodzo, who has coaching experience with Dutch FC and the Bantu Rovers, has already hit the ground running with a stellar performance against Highlanders in a friendly match on Sunday, has prized away the hearts of the black and white fans.
njengoba sesikudiwane ndesesilo coach ovela ku Highlanders and ove dlala ku Premier League siyexpect ukuthi asinike Premier League and asinike hope yokuthi siyangena ku Premier League owathi sokwenza sabisa ku Highlanders senzela ukuthi wonke umuntu egwanda akwazi ngeGwanda Pirates lokuthi siplanane.
The new gaffer is confident of turning around the fortunes of Gwanda football.
Team maybe this is the first day of Premier Division 1. But the team is right. We need the support from everyone. Even the executive, as long as they good support from us. Maybe my players and our problems just the team. We need some coaches will come here and train. So they can work out. Then concentrating on the game situation. I think it was about.
Meanwhile, Bulawayo Giants Highlanders continue with their rebuilding exercise, with coach Kelvin Kind racing against time to come up with a competitive team.
A few youngsters that came in, we lost a number of key and influential players, but I'm sure with a bit of patience, if we can support the young players that have come in, I think we are building a team and we just hope from there. It is always good. Look at the excitement that our fans receive every time we win. Look at the...
Inspired by the exploits of Simba Bora, Gwanda Pirates stormed into the Ziva Central Region Division 1 League after clinching the second division. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
Away from football, Zimbabwe secured a 1-0 series victory over Ireland in the 3-match T20 International Series after rain washed out the final encounter at Harare Sports Club by Tuesday night.
Zimbabwe had a shaky start, losing Tadwana Shimarimanu for 7 and Wesley Madevere without troubling the scorers within the first 3 overs after the match had been reduced to 18 overs aside due to a rain delay. As is often the case, Sikandar Raza tended the tide with a brisk 34 over 27 balls, supported by Brian Bennett 16 over 19. Both fell to Gareth Adelani in what proved to be his only over, leaving Zimbabwe at 67 for 4 in the 10th over. Renbell added a quick 17 over 13 balls, departing at 94 for 5. Tony Mnyonga contributed 26 runs, while Tashinga Msekio was the most aggressive, finishing unbeaten on 26 of 17. Zimbabwe posted a competitive 142 for 6 in 18 overs. The rain returned and Ireland were not able to bet before play was called off, giving Zimbabwe a rare series victory.
Tony Mnyonga played so beautifully in that second T20, but also that Trevor Gwandu bowled so nicely. Not too many people have mentioned Trevor Gwandu, but he was very good. He picked up 3 for 24 and used the conditions beautifully. He really did, which then allowed the batsmen to have a decent total to chase, although they nearly didn't make it. But I think there's still lots of technical areas. I'm still not entirely convinced about Brian Bennett and obviously Tariwanashi Marumani. Yeah, there's a lot of work that has to be done with him, unfortunately.
The Chevrons lost the test match 1-0 before coming back to win the ODI series 2-1 and wrapping it up with a 1-0 victory in the T20s. Zimbabwe now shift focus to Bangladesh, where they are set to tour next month. Lawrence Trusera, ZBC News, Harare.
And that report from Lawrence. Our look at sport. The weather report and forecast comes next.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast of Well, with moisture over much of the eastern part of the country, as seen here in our radar that is based in Harare, where we still have moisture coming in from the eastern parts of the country because of a tropical storm that is over the Mozambican Channel, drawing in moisture into the eastern parts of the country, as seen here. This is the system Honde, named by Malawi, which is drifting eastwards towards Madagascar there, with another one over the western parts of Madagascar, but over the interior of the country we shouldn't have much effect of that. But in terms of moisture, we're expecting that moisture to depreciate as we get towards the weekend, especially over the southern areas where we're expecting more clear skies as we get into Thursday and Friday. More of the precipitation projected over the northern parts where Mashonaland provinces as well as Matabeleland North should still have a bit of moisture. As such, we should have mild conditions across board, with more precipitation overnight over the northern parts of the country into tomorrow afternoon, where our temperatures are rather suppressed over the northern areas of the country. And as such, over Bulawayo, we're expecting maximum of 28 with more of the sunny skies projected there. Same for Gweru with more cloud breaks over Matopo area, and Gwanda as well. We're expecting the clouds to break by afternoon over that area. Masvingo also projected the same as we get into the weekend, where we're expecting less in terms of moisture. Same for Gweru with a few isolated showers showers over Kwekwe, also expecting a few isolated showers because of remnant moisture, whilst Kadoma has got a bit of showery weather as well. Into our metropolitan, we're expecting less as we get into the weekend. But for Chinhoyi, because of the northern influence, we're expecting the ITCZ to be still active there, where showers are also projected over Lupane into Victoria Falls, where showers are projected even into next week. Kariba, also under the influence of the ITCZ, should still get showers. Same for Bindura, where we are still expecting even into Sunday thereabout. Marondera also expecting a few showers here and there, but not as significant as those in Bindura. For Nyanga, we're still expecting a bit of moisture because of that influence. And with that, we wish you a pleasant week ahead.
Well, many thanks there to James Ngoma Jr. for giving us the way of the weather, putting a cap on the main news for this evening. From all of us, it's good night.
Good night.